In the far reaches of space, where silence rules and machines never sleep, a lonely mechanic stumbles upon the impossible. An ancient dragon, chained and bleeding, whispering a plea that could expose a secret powerful enough to shatter human history. What he chooses to do next will decide whether truth is revealed or buried forever. If you are new to the channel, then please subscribe to the channel and like the video, and tell us in the comments where are you watching from. Now, let's jump into the story. The sound was not supposed to exist on Outpost Haven 9. It was a lonely asteroid station orbiting far from the warm glow of Earth, where silence was broken only by the steady hum of oxygen recyclers and the distant vibration of ore drills buried in the rock. Life on Haven 9 was routine, mechanical, predictable. Nothing lived here except machines and a few weary souls who kept them running. Marcus Hale, the station's senior repair technician, had grown used to that silence. For 12 long years, the endless rhythm of machinery had been his companion. He had chosen this place deliberately, far from the memories of a family lost and a past that haunted him. To most, Haven 9 was exile. To Marcus, it was escape. On this night, as he tightened bolts on a stubborn air recycler, a strange sound drifted through the metal walls. It was faint at first, almost like the moan of a wounded animal. Marcus paused, holding his breath. The sound came again, deeper this time, vibrating through the floor beneath his boots. He frowned and tapped his comm unit. "Station AI, run diagnostics on Maintenance Sector 7. The artificial voice replied in its usual cheerful tone. "All systems nominal, Mr. Hale. No faults detected." But Marcus knew better. 12 years of repairing broken machinery had sharpened his instincts. Machines hummed, clicked, or sparked when they failed. This sound was none of those. This sound was organic. He set down his plasma wrench, wiped grease from his hands, and grabbed his emergency kit. Something deep inside told him he would need more than tools tonight. The corridors of Haven 9 stretched empty, dim lights guiding his path. Most of the crew had been reassigned years ago when the ore veins ran dry. Now, only a skeleton team of 25 remained, scattered across a facility built for hundreds. Silence was everywhere, except for that sound. Marcus followed it toward the abandoned hangar bay. A sector sealed off 3 years earlier. Corporate orders had labeled it unnecessary to maintain. The doors should have been locked, yet as he approached, he saw a narrow gap. Steel-reinforced panels were bent outward as though torn by enormous force. Deep grooves marked the surface, claw marks carved into the titanium itself. His throat tightened. "What in the void?" he whispered. With cautious steps, he pushed the heavy doors open. The hangar was cold and hollow, lit only by red emergency lights. Long shadows stretched across walls lined with forgotten cargo containers. Dust swirled through the air, untouched for years. Marcus's boots echoed as he moved deeper into the cavernous space, every sense alert. Then he saw it. In the center of the floor, illuminated by faint beams of light, lay a creature that should not have existed. Her body was massive, covered in silver-blue scales that shimmered like broken glass. Some scales were cracked, others scorched black. Dark blood pooled beneath her, staining the steel floor. Her wings, vast even when folded, were bound tightly by thick titanium chains. Her limbs trembled against restraints designed to hold something far stronger than any human. A dragon. Marcus froze. The The word almost died in his throat. Dragons belong to ancient stories told on Earth, not to the cold corridors of mining stations. Yet here she was, alive, wounded, chained. His heart pounded as he stepped closer, his mind racing between disbelief and awe. The dragon's eyes opened, golden, brilliant, alive. They locked on him. Instead of fury, he saw something unexpected: hope. Her lips moved, and a whisper, weak yet clear, filled the hangar. "Please, don't lift my wing." Marcus staggered back. She spoke, not a roar, not a growl, but words. Impossible, yet undeniable. He looked again at the blood spreading beneath her body. It seeped slowly from where her wing pressed against the floor. Instinct from his old life surged within him. Before he was a mechanic, he had been a field medic in the colonial forces. He had seen soldiers bleed out in minutes when wounds went untreated. He swallowed hard. "You're hurt bad. I need to help." The dragon closed her eyes, a tear slid. The station was silent, except for the sound of her shallow breathing. Marcus knelt beside her, trembling hands hovering above scales warmer than he expected. Every rational part of him screamed to walk away, to call security, to let someone else face whatever this was. But something stronger held him there: compassion. For years, Marcus had lived without purpose. He fixed machines, replaced parts, and followed orders from a company that treated workers like replaceable cogs. But in this moment, faced with a dying creature whose eyes begged for mercy, he felt a pull he had not felt in years, the pull to protect, to heal, to choose what was right. The sound that began as an echo in the dark had led him here, to a secret chained in silence, to a discovery that would shatter everything he thought he knew about the universe. And as Marcus knelt in the shadows of the forgotten hangar, he realized his life on Haven 9 would never be the same again. The dragon's breath came in shallow waves, each one laced with pain. Golden eyes watched Marcus hail with a strange mixture of fear and trust, as if she had waited a long time for someone to arrive. The hangar around them remained silent, broken only by the faint hum of emergency lights. Marcus hesitated. He had never seen a living being like this before, not in all his years on Outpost Haven 9. Yet something about her voice, fragile and trembling, made it impossible for him to turn away. "What's your name?" Marcus asked softly, kneeling beside her chained body. Her eyes closed for a moment before she answered. "Lindara." The sound of her name was like wind across stone, delicate yet powerful. Marcus studied the thick chains digging into her scales. They were not standard equipment, not something used for cargo. These restraints were custom-made, designed for capture. His hands clenched. "Who did this to you?" "The ones who hunt us," she whispered. "The company." "You're calm." Marcus froze. "Orion Extractives?" Lindara nodded, her voice weakening. "They know what we are worth. Our scales, our blood. But more than that, they fear what we know." Shifted painfully, wincing. "Beneath my wing, they left a mark. Words burned into my flesh. A message, meant as a warning." Marcus's chest tightened. He remembered her plea. "Please don't lift my wing." Now he understood. She wasn't only hiding her wound. She was hiding the truth carved into her body. He reached for his medkit, pulling out antiseptic and bandages. "If I don't treat it, you'll bleed out. I can't let that happen." "You will see what they wrote," Lindara said, tears glistening in her golden eyes. "Once you see, You will understand why they want me silenced." Marcus steadied his breath. He had patched up human soldiers before, but this was different. This was a living legend, a creature he had been taught did not exist. His hands trembled as he gently lifted her wing. What he saw made his stomach twist. Burned into her scales with surgical precision were words glowing faintly against the raw wound. She saw the director's truth. Below the message was the corporate seal of Orion Extractives. Marcus stumbled back, heart pounding. The director of Haven 9, Darius Crow, was a man he had worked under for 5 years. To Marcus, Crow was nothing more than a bureaucrat who complained about coffee. But this message told a darker story. "Good God," Marcus whispered. "They branded you." Lindara lowered her head, her voice breaking. "They wanted me to carry their secret to my grave, a reminder that anyone who dares expose them will suffer the same." Marcus forced himself to look at the wound again. Infection had spread along the edges of the burn. It was cruel, deliberate, meant to cause slow agony. Rage boiled inside him. "No one deserves this," he said firmly. "Not you. Not anyone." She blinked slowly, her gaze locked on his. "Why do you—" "I am not of your kind." Marcus pulled out a vial of antibiotics and a sterilizer. "Because I've seen this before. Maybe not on dragons, but on people. War, greed, cruelty. It looks the same, no matter who it scars. I won't stand by while it happens again." His words carried weight, though his hands moved with gentleness. He cleaned the wound carefully, applying medicine meant for humans, improvising where he could. Lindara flinched at the sting, but remained still, watching him with quiet wonder. "You were a soldier once," she said, more a statement than a question. "Medic," Marcus replied, focusing on the bandage. "Before I fixed machines, I fixed people. Not that it mattered much in the end." He paused, his voice rough. "I lost my family, came out here to forget. But it seems the universe doesn't want me forgetting after all." Silence hung between them, broken only by the hiss of the sterilizer. Finally, Lindara spoke again. "You should leave me. The company will come. They will not allow their secret to survive." Marcus shook his head. "If they find you, they'll kill you. I won't let that happen." Her eyes softened, a flicker of something like hope passing through them. "You are different from the others." "Don't be so sure," Marcus muttered, finishing the last bandage. "I'm just a man trying to do one decent thing before it's too late." He sat back, wiping sweat from his brow. The enormity of what he had uncovered pressed down on him. Dragons were real. The company had captured and tortured them. And now he alone stood between Lindara and death. The hangar seemed larger than ever, shadows stretching long across the floor. Outside the walls of Haven 9, the stars burned cold and silent. Marcus knew the choice he had made would change everything. He met Lindara's gaze once more. "You're safe with me. I'll find a way to keep you hidden. And when you're stronger, we'll make them answer for what they've done." The dragon closed her eyes, breathing deeply as if for the first time in years. But the silence of the hangar carried weight. Marcus knew their time was limited. Someone, somewhere, would notice the missing supplies. Someone would come looking. And when they did, the secret carved into Lindara's body would no longer belong to just them. For now, though, the plea of the dragon echoed in Marcus's mind. A plea not just to hide her wound, but to protect the truth that lay within it. And in that moment, Marcus Hale became more than a mechanic on a forgotten station. He became a guardian of a secret that could shake human space to its core. The days that followed turned Marcus Hale into a man living two lives. By day, he walked the corridors of Outpost Haven 9 like any other worker, fixing faulty circuits, patching air filters, and pretending nothing had changed. But at night, he returned to the abandoned hangar, where Lindera lay hidden in shadows, her wounds slowly healing under his care. He stole medical supplies, bits of food, even water filters, all under the excuse of maintenance work. Every time he slipped something past the inventory logs, Marcus felt the pressure mounting. The company was watching, always watching. He knew it was only a matter of time before someone noticed. Still, he could not abandon her. Lindara's golden eyes carried a truth he had not felt in years. She trusted him. Despite everything humans had done to her kind, that trust bound him more strongly than any contract or corporate oath ever could. One evening, as Marcus was changing the bandages on her wing, Lindara's voice broke the silence. "You risk much for me. Why?" Marcus tightened the wrappings gently before answering. "Because someone has to. I spent too long fixing machines that don't matter for people who don't care. Maybe helping you is my way of fixing something that does." Lindara studied him carefully. Then she whispered, "Brother, you need to see." Before Marcus could ask, her golden eyes glowed brighter. The air shimmered, and suddenly the hangar was filled with moving images. They were not screens, not projections from a device, but living memories drawn from her mind. Marcus gasped as the vision unfolded. He saw Darius Crow, the station director, standing in a hidden chamber far below the mining decks. Dragons were chained to walls, their scales ripped away while they still lived. He saw corporate officers laughing as they weighed shimmering fragments worth more than any metal. He saw Lindara herself dragged across the floor, branded with fire, her cries ignored. Marcus staggered back, bile rising in his throat. "Dear God, this is what they've been doing?" "They harvest us," Lindara said, her voice trembling. "Our scales conduct energy greater than any human technology. They see us only as resources, not as living beings." Marcus turned away, fists clenched. He had suspected corruption, ... But this was more than greed. This was cruelty carved into policy, hidden beneath reports of mining accidents and lost shipments. Before he could speak, a noise echoed down the corridor outside the hangar. Heavy footsteps, voices. Marcus's blood ran cold. He grabbed his rifle from a storage crate and whispered, "Stay quiet." The hangar doors hissed open. 3 men stepped through, rifles raised. Marcus recognized them instantly. Briggs, Kowalski, and Thompson, security officers loyal to Darius Crow. Briggs smirked when he saw Marcus. "Well, look at this. The mechanic's been keeping secrets." He pointed at Lindera, his voice dripping with arrogance. "Director Crow's going to be very interested in this." Marcus moved between them and the dragon, his weapon shaking in his hands. "She's not property. She's a living being," Kowalski sneered. "Corporate law says otherwise. Anything non-human without diplomatic status is classified as salvage, and salvage belongs to the calm." Marcus's voice hardened. "I don't give a damn about corporate law. I know what's right. You're not taking her." Thompson laughed, a harsh, cruel sound. "You think you can stop us, old man?" Before Marcus could reply, Lindara's voice filled the room, weak but steady. "They need to see." Her eyes glowed again. The air shimmered, and the same horrifying visions appeared around them. The guards froze, staring at scenes of torture, branding, and death. Kowalski's face paled. His rifle wavered. "My God, is this real?" "You know it is," Lindara whispered. "These are my memories. They cannot be altered. They cannot be faked. Briggs shook his head, trying to push down his fear. Lies, holograms, tricks! But Thompson wasn't shaken. He snarled and stepped forward. Doesn't matter if it's true. Orders are orders. He raised his rifle toward the dragon. Marcus's body moved before his mind could catch up. He aimed at Thompson, his voice sharp. Drop it. Now, the standoff. Tense and dangerous. Briggs licked his lips, uncertain. Kowalski lowered his weapon slowly, eyes flicking between Marcus and the dragon. We can't cover this up anymore, Kowalski muttered. If this gets out, the whole system will know. Briggs glared at him. Shut up. You want Crow to hear you doubting? But before their argument could continue, the walls of the station trembled violently. Dust shook loose from the ceiling. A low roar, deeper than any machine, echoed through the air. Marcus's heart pounded. What was that? The hangar force field shimmered as a shadow passed beyond it. Then another. Then a third. From the darkness of space, 3 massive figures emerged. Wings stretched wide, scales glowing against the starlight. Dragons. They flew with military precision, their movements sharp, controlled. The largest, black as the void itself, hovered at the center. Beside him, a golden dragon and a copper one flanked like guardians. The black dragon's voice thundered through the force field, calm yet commanding. You have something that belongs to us. Briggs cursed under his breath. Thompson tightened his grip on his rifle. Marcus stood frozen, caught between awe and fear. Lindara lifted her head weakly, her voice breaking into a smile. My kin, they found me. The truth in the shadows was no longer hidden. It had arrived in the form of wings stretching across the stars. And with it came a promise. The reckoning had only just begun. The hangar shook with the thunder of wings. 3 dragons hovered beyond the shimmering force field, their eyes burning with purpose. The largest, scales black as the depths of space, spoke with a voice that rolled like distant storms. Release her. She is not yours to keep. Briggs cursed under his breath, his hands trembling. Thompson raised his weapon again, stubborn and unshaken. Kowalski stepped back, his rifle hanging loose at his side. Marcus Hale stood between them and Lindara, his body taut with defiance. The black dragon stepped closer to the force field, his massive wings folding against his sides. Your station director has crossed lines no human should ever cross. 13 of our kin have fallen to his cruelty. Their scales harvested, their bodies discarded like ore. A ripple of energy passed through the hangar as the golden dragon beside him projected shimmering images into the air. They showed Darius Crow in hidden chambers, overseeing torture, counting profits, and branding dragons with the corporate seal. The memories were clear, undeniable, and horrifying. Kowalski dropped his weapon entirely. Dear God, he whispered, eyes wide. It's true, all of it. Briggs snarled, don't let them get in your head. This is manipulation. Nothing less. As if summoned by those words, the hangar doors hissed open once more. Darius Crow entered with his usual arrogance, his suit pristine, his expression calm. Behind him, more guards spilled in, weapons drawn. So, Crow said, his voice smooth, my mechanic and a handful of traitors think they can stand in the way of progress. His eyes flicked to Lindara, chained and weak. You should have died quietly. Now look at the mess you've made. Marcus tightened his grip on his rifle. She's not your property, Crow. She's a living being. Crow smirked. Living beings don't pay for air recyclers, Mr. Hale. They don't sign contracts. They don't keep the engines of human expansion running. Everything out here belongs to Orion Extractives, and that includes her. Before Marcus could respond, Lindera's voice cut through the tension. Though weak, it carried unshakable resolve. No, it does not. Her golden eyes glowed, and the hangar filled with visions again. But this time, the memories were broadcast not just to those in the hangar, but far beyond. Signals carried through hidden channels, across satellites, and into the networks of human colonies. The entire system would see what Crow had done. Crow's smirk faltered. "Stop this, you can't." "I already have," Lindara whispered. Images of dragons tortured, branded, and harvested played in perfect clarity. Contracts signed with hidden accounts. Shipments of scales disguised as minerals. The face of Darius Crow, directing every crime, flashed across every display. Marcus saw the fear in Crow's eyes. The powerful man who once controlled everything now stood stripped bare, his crimes laid open for all to judge. The Black Dragon stepped forward, his voice rumbling. "You will confess, Darius Crow, every detail, every crime. You will speak the truth before both humans and dragons, or you will face consequences far beyond what you fear." For the first time, Crow looked small. The sweat beaded his forehead. I want a deal. Immunity in exchange for testimony." The Golden Dragon tilted her head. "No immunity, but life in prison instead of death. That is the only offer." Crow's lips trembled. Finally, he nodded. "Fine, I'll talk." As the confession began, Marcus stood beside Lindera. He listened as Crow detailed the horrors of the last 2 years, naming partners, exposing secret accounts, and admitting to the killings of 13 dragons. Every word was recorded, every truth preserved. When it ended, silence hung heavy. Crow sat slumped, broken by the weight of his own confession. The guards who had followed him stood stunned, realizing the man they served was nothing more than a criminal cloaked in authority. Outside the station, the 3 dragons waited. Their presence was no longer hidden. They had revealed themselves, and now humanity could not deny their existence. Lindera, though scarred and weak, lifted her head proudly. "No more high," she said. "No more fear. We will live openly, as we once dreamed." Marcus looked at her, feeling something stir within him he had long thought gone. Hope. "And what about me?" he asked quietly. She turned her golden gaze on him. "You chose compassion when you had nothing to gain. You chose truth when silence would have been easier. You will stand with us if you wish it, not as a soldier, not as a servant, but as a friend." The hangar grew still. Marcus thought of his years of emptiness, of machines that meant nothing, of nights spent alone with grief. And then he thought of this moment, the dragon beside him, the dawn of a new era, and the chance to be part of something greater than himself. He nodded. "Then I'll stand with you." The Black Dragon bowed his massive head in approval. "So it begins. The age of hiding ends today. From this moment, dragons and humans will face the truth together." As the first light of a distant sun crept over the asteroid horizon, Marcus stood at the hangar's edge, watching the stars shift with new meaning. The silence of Haven 9 had been broken forever. In its place came the promise of justice, unity, and the dawn of truth.